Okay, welcome to the Sunday pre-market meeting. It's good to see you all here. I hope you all have had a good weekend so far. So it's been an interesting one. We've had lots of news about Iran. Now, hopefully this wasn't a shock to many of you. We've been looking at it and discussing it previously, sort of throughout last week. There was lots of early warning signs regarding negotiations that kept falling apart and threats from both sides. So it wasn't necessarily a huge, oh my God, what just happened situation. It was kind of expected, but obviously the markets still react as they will with war. So with the escalation between the US and Iran, we have seen commodities start to rise. We have obviously seen gold gap to the upside here. This is weekend pricing on IG, by the way. Gold. So gold is currently at around 5,400. Give or take. That can obviously change by the time the market does open. If we have a look at silver, similar situation, slight gap up on silver towards sort of 98 roughly, and oil has also had a really nice gap to the upside here as well, currently around $73 a barrel. So we are looking at the positions we've got open are looking quite good. I know quite a few of the members are long oil. We are also long gold from one of our signals. So overall, we're actually positioned very, very nicely for this situation. We'll go over that shortly. However, there are a few things we need to discuss. So the supreme leader in Iran has been confirmed to be killed. Now, this is one of those situations where mainstream media is peddling it. I'm not saying it's not correct. I'm not saying it is correct. However, on social media, we are seeing quite a bit of conflict between whether he is actually dead or not. I'm going to take it at face value and say that he is until I've been officially told otherwise. I don't have a reason to say that he's not dead. However, I've seen the question flying around saying that now the Supreme Leader's dead, is the war over? Is that it? Well, no, because the IRGC and Iranian leadership have publicly vowed retaliation. So inherently, that means the war isn't over. Now, the markets are seeming to be pricing in uncertainty, not necessarily escalation just yet, because the main concern is gone. However, again, if Iran does retaliate, can the US deal with it? Can Israel deal with it? I would very likely say yes. I don't think Iran has the capabilities to actually do half of the things they've said. If you look at what has been previously stated, we saw Iran, the Supreme Leader came out and said, if the US does anything, we're going to slap them so hard they can't get back up. Well, he's dead. So clearly they don't have the capabilities to do half of the things that they have said they can do. So likely the markets are now just pricing more of a uncertainty risk between, specifically actually in gold, rather than it being a full out war with military on ground, bombs going off, and that type of thing. However, I would expect this to continue to the upside. Obviously, we are expecting a gap towards 5,400 when the markets open. Beyond that, it wouldn't surprise me if we get some sort of brief dip and then a continuation grind to the upside. I have no bearish case for gold, other than the idea that if we do get a complete back down from Iran and this whole thing just settles down and the smoke clears, then yes, it's very likely we will see gold return back to sort of these lows, potentially maybe even slightly lower, as obviously we see profit taking and risk uncertainty being priced out. Now it's slightly different for oil because with oil, we are obviously looking at a supply chain disruption. So we know that the channels have been closed. So oil transfers or transportation, not quite as easy, obviously, again, referring to that supply chain risk. So oil absolutely is very, very likely to continue higher until this is 100% sort of done and over with. So oil, as we just showed you, it's likely to open higher around 70, 71, 72, 73, 74 area. Obviously, that's a big gap, but it could be sort of anywhere around that, depending on what happens between now and obviously the market open. Having said that, I would expect oil to continue higher as well, towards at least 80. Now, I'm a little bit upset because we were long oil during this period. I closed out and then I bought again here and then closed out again. So unfortunately, I've actually not managed to catch the gap open, but that's okay. So oil, again, very easy buy idea. However, the problem is, obviously, if we're going to get the gap like we will on silver and gold, it's going to be very tricky to actually get into the market because on gaps, it's very common for them to get corrected before we continue higher. So you've got two options. On the gap, you could either look to be a buyer and just big balls buy the gap and just expect it to continue higher, or you can be a lot more conservative, see if we can get the gap to fill, and then look for a continuation. That's the two base cases for gold, silver, and oil, in my opinion. There's downsides to both. Obviously, if we get a large gap, the stop would need to be quite large in case we do get a fill. And then if we wait, the idea or the potential is that we actually don't get a gap fill and we continue higher. So it's really up to you. I don't trade the gaps. I don't trade the open. I'm not going to be involved. As I said, I'm already long on silver and I'm long gold. I've got no interest in trying to up my risk and be stupid. We are also short on the pound NOK, which does benefit from stronger oil prices. So we are already positioned very, very well. And as well, we are currently long on the US dollar. So in terms of our signals positioning, we are perfectly fine. Now, this leads us on to a different subject, which is sort of the day-to-day fundamentals with obviously central bank policy and so on. Now, this situation is, depending on how you look at it, depending on what your favoring is for the markets, very good for currencies overall. Now, obviously, to have a grain of salt, there's context behind that. However, higher oil prices inherently is going to increase inflation, which doesn't allow central banks to just aggressively cut rates. Now, we know that most central banks are kind of dovish or dovish leaning at the moment. We've got the Fed that's not expected to cut in the next meeting, but we are still expecting cuts in the future. The only real central bank that is expected to sort of continue either holding or hiking is the RBA. However, the Australian dollar is very likely to weaken off the back of this news, especially against things like the Canadian dollar, the Swiss franc, and the yen. Obviously, as we see inflows into safe havens, and the Canadian dollar will obviously strengthen off the back of oil as well. So take care, because what you might end up doing is buying into a falling knife or selling into a rally if you don't fully understand the market mechanics and the way that the currencies and metals and everything else moves. So just to clear this up and tie the bow on it, when it comes to US equities, US indices, I will be selling any rallies until we get a resolution in the Middle East. Until we get a complete neutralization of that situation, I will be looking to sell all rallies on the NASDAQ, all rallies on the US 30 and the S&P 500, and also on the Russell. Remember, these markets hate risk, so likely we're going to see a continued inflow into gold. So I will continue to look for buys on gold, continue to look for buys on silver, continue to look for buys on oil, and also on the Canadian dollar. Potentially, we could go long on the yen as well. So again, it really, really depends. These situations where we have massive risk on, risk off situations, there is a lot of money to be made, but it's only smart traders that can do it, because idiot traders get caught in stupid moves and don't fully understand what they're doing. So again, depends where you're positioned. So moving forwards, let's go ahead and have a look here. Now, this is tricky because we're getting some counter readings on the Edge Finder. So normally we would go through the Edge Finder and we'd just have a look at the charts and we'd mark up some things. However, obviously with the DAX, we don't really want to be buying risk assets right now, so that's completely scrapped. Australian dollar CAD, the Australian dollar is likely to weaken. Obviously, Canadian dollar is likely to strengthen due to oil. So this one is also scrapped. Copper, we could look to trade copper. Aussie yen, same situation. The Australian dollar is likely to weaken. Yen is likely to strengthen, so this is scrapped. Oil, again, potential buys there. Now, Aussie New Zealand. This one is a pair that I would like to be a buyer of at some point. However, we've got a couple of different things we need to consider here. So higher timeframes, Aussie New Zealand is extremely stretched. I mean, if we go to the weekly timeframe, you can see here, 14 years worth of range has finally been broken with very little pullbacks. Keep in mind, this is a weekly timeframe. This is a really big move for a FX market. So with that in mind, and the idea that both currencies weaken in risk-off periods or risk-off sentiments, there is no reason really to be involved with this market. There's so many better opportunities. It's just not really worth it. So Aussie New Zealand also for me right now is scrapped. New Zealand yen is scrapped. Euro pound, it could go either way, to be honest with you. I've got no interest in euro pound either. When the dollar strengthens, which is likely going to off the back of this war, obviously risk off US dollar inflows, the euro weakens. However, I also can't imagine the pound strengthening off the back of this as well. So no real direction on euro pound. Canadian dollar bearish, again, doesn't really relate right now because of oil strength. So do you see what I'm saying? There is just not really that much for us to do other than play it by the very simple playbook of safe haven inflows. So my playbook right now is wait until tomorrow, sort of morning, tomorrow afternoon. I would completely avoid the open. If you are trading the open, best of luck to you. You've got some nuts that I do not have. So yeah, market gap towards 98 on silver. Depending on what happens overnight, how the market reacts after the gap, I may look to scale into this position. Exactly the same thought process on gold. I likely actually won't even trade gold. I'm happy to stick in the positions we've already got as signals. Pound dollar, we're also pretty much at entry, so I've got no interest there. Pound NOK, we'll let this one run. Excuse me. So when it comes to trade ideas, if we're going to just completely put the water side for now and just look at the sort of basics, bread and butter, as we normally would, I do quite like the DAX. So the DAX, as we saw, is getting a bullish reading on the edge finder. We've got a really nice healthy trend here with our moving averages. We're coming into a value zone here on the fib, which is the 61.8 to 50% retracement. That could also cause a double bottom here. Overall, the technicals look completely fine. So I'd be looking for a slightly deeper retracement towards this 200 moving average, rejection off here. And then if we do get an H4 bullish candle close, I'd be quite happy to be a buyer off that level. The pound Australian continues to be a very, very nice pair to trade. Now, the trend is quite aggressive. It's been very difficult to actually get an entry. But in terms of the fundamentals, it's still very, very valid. Now, the sort of context here, I know we said we put the water side for a minute, but the pound versus the Australian dollar is still a very bearish currency. We've got the RBA that's still expected to hike rates. We've got the Bank of England that's still expected to cut rates. The UK economy, in my opinion, is just getting worse and worse over time, despite the short-term influxes in whatever it may be. Overall, I'm still very, very bearish on the UK. So I would be happy to continue selling. However, if both currencies do weaken, we could still see the Australian dollar slightly outperform, but I'm not willing to put money on that just yet. So what I would like to see, and this is maybe a little bit too optimistic, but this would be sort of a perfect world situation. We've got the lows here. So we've got weekly level of support that we've just tapped into. We've got the daily that is very deviated from our moving averages, which in liquid markets like pound Australian, euro dollar, etc., we do often see these mean reversions where price comes back to its sort of average, if you will, corrects and then continues lower. So what we could potentially see is euro Australian see outflows from both currencies. We see a little bit of a relaxation in price where we see actually price start to correct a little bit. Then we could start looking to sell off the back of that sort of retracement. But again, it's not my favorite pair right now, realistically. Aussie yen, right now this one does have a little bit more potential long term. So if we do see the Australian dollar weaken, we see the yen gain strength, obviously on the back of risk off sentiment. It's very obvious we could see downside. How much downside is obviously the question. But what might be worth doing, if you've got a bit of bankroll and you can afford to do it in your capital, it might be worth adding some very small long positions, because what we could do is use a short-term move to the downside and accumulate some Aussie yen and wait for things to cool down, risk sentiment to normalize, and then we can get into basically a very nice carry trade to continue higher. As I said, the RBA, which is the central bank for Australia, is expected to continue hiking. Bank of Japan is expected to go to 1% in terms of interest rates, but they can't really go higher than that. So yeah, I mean, there is not much to say. It continues to be a funding currency despite any short-term volatility we see in terms of strength on the yen. So that kind of concludes it. I know it's been a little bit quick and there hasn't been really specific trade ideas like we normally would go over, but of course this is a very unique situation. So normally we'd obviously be going over buying gold, etc., but we're already in gold, so it is what it is. And obviously with the gaps that we are expecting, there isn't really anything we can do off that. So in terms of situation and situational analysis now, as we said, if we do get a slowdown in this situation, we get whether it be Iran completely back down, whether it be America and Israel completely take over, and basically the war finishes either way, whatever happens, the war's done, then I would be looking to get out of gold. I'd be looking to reduce my exposure on silver and potentially go short on oil. However, if we see continued escalations, it's simple. Buy gold, buy silver, buy oil, potentially buy the Canadian dollar as well, buy the yen. Very basic, safe haven play. So that's it. Unless there's any questions, we could probably just end it here. Again, I do apologize. I know it's not our normal flow, our normal Sunday webinar, but right now there's just not many setups that we could really go over that are necessarily ready to enter. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. I see a few people typing. New Zealand US dollar, very bearish in my opinion at the moment. So, as we said, New Zealand dollar does typically weaken due to risk off. The US dollar typically strengthens on risk off, so I'd be looking to be a short seller on this market. Now, we've been stuck in a range for quite some time, basically since the start of this year, give or take. So right now, there is nothing to do. We've also got a bullish trend on the daily time frame here, which is a little bit not great. However, we've got this left side traffic that we could see a bit of a correction of. If we do see the risk sentiment flow as it normally would, obviously again, weaker New Zealand dollar, stronger US dollar, we could see this market start to come down, correct some of this left side, and I'd be looking to take profits potentially at this support level around the 0.572 mark. So if we were to sell, I would need to see the break, a retest of this level, and then enter on the retest, and then continue this market lower, keep it very basic. Pound New Zealand, nothing right now. Both currencies are not really favorable in this environment. I suppose I would want to be a buyer, generally speaking, but yeah, overall, there's absolutely nothing right now. Short, the Singaporean dollar against the yen was mentioned in the bank reports. If you want something a bit off piece, I don't think I've ever checked that market. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, I mean, I suppose short, but again, because I don't trade these markets, it's a little bit tricky to say, but I think potentially short, correction of left side, pull into moving averages, then long. Again, that's very simple bread and butter thinking. I'd need to do a bit more research on the Singaporean dollar. It's not something that I pay any attention to. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we will leave it there. Thank you all for joining. Have a fantastic rest of your days and weekends. I think that's pretty much it from me. Guys, have a good one, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.